Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm going to be checking out the GEPRC Hummingbird. This is a 2-inch micro that comes under the same umbrella as the Emax Babyhawk R and the Diatone GTR 90 and the Eachine. Oh, I don't know why I've got that one there. They are a 2-inch model that takes a 4-cell battery. And these two are so similar on paper, it's going to be pretty tricky picking between them. We know that both have really good quality parts and components. You know, I reviewed the Sparrow 3-inch model, that was fantastic. And I reviewed this one on the channel recently as well, and I really liked it. Now, this is a heavy model, but this one was. In fact, they weigh pretty much the same without a battery, 90 grams. But I'm not going to prejudge it because this one flew fantastic. And the reason why it's so heavy for a 2-inch model, we've got the 3mm thick carbon here, and we've got thick carbon top plates, and we've got this camera protection as well. And of course, we've got the motors. And again, the motors are the same figures, they're different brands, so Emax and GEPRC. They are a 1106 6000 kV motor, so exactly the same spec. But the props that it comes with, these are the GEMFan 2040, so they're a tri-blade and they've got less pitch than these. So I'm going to guess that this one is going to have more performance, but of course, switching the props out isn't a difficult thing to do. And then we have got the core in here, which I think they call it the GEPRC Stable Tower, I think they call it. We have got 12 amp BL Halley S 16.6 ESC, so if you want to do D-Shock commands, you're going to have to upgrade to 16.7. Then above that we've got an Omnibus F4 flight controller with Betaflight on-screen display. It's something that I thought they should have put in the Sparrow personally, but there you go. It's come flashed with Betaflight version 3.22, so not the latest, but fairly new version. It's got a buzzer attached to it, and that sits at the front there. And then we've got some programmable LEDs hidden at the back there as well, and those shine through this TPU 3D printed mount. And then above the flight controller we've got a switchable VTX. It switches from 0 milliwatt to 25 milliwatt to 100 milliwatt to 200 milliwatt. So again, very similar to this here. It's a 48 channel and you've got 3 LEDs on here and 3 different colours, and you have to do like a 3-second press to get into the channels, then individual presses to change the channels, and then another 3-second press into the bands, and another 3-second press into the power. Very easy to work, and you can see the lights there as well. We've got a micro UFL connector, and then we've got a sleeve dipole antenna which comes out the back really nicely here. It's a little bit long, mine, but we should get good reception out of that. And then we've got a run cam at the front. It's a Micro Swift, the version 1 without the on-screen display, which is fine because the flight controller's got an on-screen display. So we've got Fox here, run cam. Oh, it's so similar. And then this is the bind and fly version from Banggood. So it actually comes with these nice antenna straws. You do have to cut those up and put them over and through this TPU mount here. You have to route the antennas through there as well. I also had to put a little bit of heat on these because they were very loose, but those aren't coming off now. And it seems like a really good quality model. I like it. And we've got a screw there as well, so we can adjust the camera angle if I need to. Let's take a look at the lens. So I think it is a 2.1mm lens, and yeah, that's nicely protected up the front there. And the battery, yeah, so it's got a battery strap, and it's also got this nice silicone mat. You have to put that on yourself. Also got some nice little ties around the motor wires here as well. Now I'm actually going to be using a 3-cell battery, but it will take a 4-cell battery. This is 550 milliamp. It's a GNB battery, and you'll notice here that we've got an XT30. It didn't come with an XT30. I thought this was a surprise, so this is the box that it comes in here. So somewhere, yeah, I cut off the JST connector that was on there, but they did give you this XT30. I don't know why they didn't have that on there and then give you the option to replace it for a JST, because really that's the way round it should be working these days. But whilst I'm in the box, yeah, so we've got a set of props that have gone on there, and you're given the screws, and I've had to fit those. And then we've got a pair of Allen keys, so one for the props, which is going to be 1.5mm, and probably a 2mm perhaps for the motors and other screws. But yeah, they're slightly different sizes there. You can see you get loads of space with the straws, so you know, got some spares there as well. So you're given 2 sets of these packs, so I got a spare set of props in there, so there'll be 2 more spare sets in there. Quite a nice prop, I have to say. I do like this prop. There's no instructions at all, however they give you a QR code, so you can put that into your phone, and then you've got everything that you need. It's got like all the Betaflight setup and things. However, just like the Baby Hawk R, it was pretty much set up perfectly in Betaflight, and it's also got its own tune on there as well. I just had to match the modes up, but that wasn't a difficult thing to do. And I've bound it to my X10S, and that was really simple. Of course, you can just access the receiver, it's just hidden behind there. And then for FPV, it's going to be my usual Fat Shark Dominator HD3s with a Bandicoot antenna for this linear antenna, a Onway Cloverleaf, and the Furious FPV True Diversity module there, so that I can have diversity for the linear antenna and also record the DVR at the same time. Okay, let's go for the line of sight with this guy. Oh, it's feeling a little bit heavy there. It's needing, what, about 40% throttle to hover. And this is almost using their PIDs. I have bumped the D-gain a little bit because it did seem a little bit low. Okay, let's see what the punch is like. Yeah, I don't think it's as much as the Baby Hawk R. This is a full battery. So yeah, it seems like not quite as much punch. Let's try acro. Not seeing any hesitation. The tune seems okay. I like how you can see those LEDs. It seems to do power loops nicely. I think the tune's pretty nice. Just feels like I'm having to pump the throttle a bit more. That's fine as long as it flies. It's flying all right. I love doing these power loop things. Yeah, my initial reaction is feels a little bit heavy. So just stick in an angle mode, see if we've got any drift. It doesn't look like it. So let's come in for a landing and I'll do some FPV with it. Okay, let's take a look at some DVR footage, and the first thing I want to talk about is the tune. Now, it flew fine out of the box, however, it felt a little bit loose compared to the Baby Hawk R, which is, I suppose, what everyone's going to be comparing this to. I'll just do a punch out. So, yeah, it had a huge amount of punch, really. I mean, you know, no problems there. You can see, though, when I pump the throttle, that it's moving on the vertical axis, so it needs more eye gain. And the gains were fairly low in general. So the P gain was about 30, and the I gain, I think, was 11 or 12, so I bumped that up because I knew that was going to be too low. But if you have a look at some of these hesitation backflips, you can see that there is a little bit of bounce back, and I think the P gain just wasn't high enough, and the I gain and the D wasn't, and with this being a similar sort of weight to the Baby Hawk R, then really it should have a similar sort of tune, so it's definitely worth maybe even copying those PIDs and then working from that. But yeah, that can be improved upon, but it's worth mentioning because the Baby Hawk R flies better out of the box. One thing that this does do better, though, is amp draw. You'll notice at no point in this video when I do a throttle punch out does the voltage sag below 10 volts. And that's important because it means that you can practically go full throttle at any point in the flight and the battery won't sag and you won't get a brownout or potential brownout. That's why we come off the throttle, really, when your battery sags, and to save your battery life as well. But because we've got the lower pitch prop on this and it's just a tri-blade, it's drawing less amps, you can abuse the throttle all you want and not do any damage, and I thought that was really awesome, actually. So next, let's talk about the video quality. Now, there was hardly any breakup, for sure, so the reception's good. However, you will notice there are a couple of ripples on the video, on the picture, and that is filtering through from the ESCs and the electronics. And that's probably because this copter doesn't have a low ESR capacitor like the Baby Hawk R does, and I don't doubt that if you fitted one that it would clean up that video, and it's not debilitating at all, but I think it's worth mentioning that the Baby Hawk R has a cleaner picture. You know, it's really tricky to pick between these two, so, you know, I'm just trying to give you some options there. Look at that, we are nearly 3 minutes into the flight and a full punch out. Again, doesn't drop below 10 volts. I'd probably land at 10 volts, by the way, but yeah, absolutely loads in the bag there if you want to abuse your throttle. I really like that. Now, there's actually pretty decent audio coming from this. Now, I still don't like audio coming from a copter because it still gets scrambled in the breakup, but I'll let you take a listen at it. So it's not too bad at all, and you can see there we are well over 3 minutes and we are still able to do some punches with it. Look at that, it's just dropping below. Now it's probably time to land. So yeah, I think I give this one a thumbs up. It's very close between the Baby Hawk R. Personally, I'm preferring these 2.5-inch prop models more because they weigh the same as this but have a bigger prop, so you can go more on the punch. But other than that, yeah, I can't really fault it. So yeah, I recommend it, and I'll put a link in the description if you wish to get one. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.